Okay. I just rolled to bed like 5 minutes ago. I'm gonna record this in one take, so it's gonna be partly shitty, but what's whatever. So I just wanted to have this conversation because I was gonna tell it to you anyways, but I'm too lazy to like find a time to meet up with you and have the conversation, so I'm making this video instead. Explain the fundamental parts of the PC and some options that we have to, save money on your PC and whatnot. So your 5 parts that you're mostly gonna have is the 2 core parts you're gonna have is your CPU and your GPU. I'll just go down the list in order. CPU, just the brain. It does all the thinking. The better CPU you have, the more you can think. Does that make sense? Your motherboard is just the hub that connects everything together. Your RAM determines how much thinking you can do at once. Like your CPU will determine how fast the computer's able to do something, but your RAM determines how many things you can do at once. And then you have your GPU. It's basically another computer inside your computer that is designed to handle solely all of the graphics, so that way it doesn't put it's designed for graphics, so the rest of the computers don't have to like blow up trying to make your game show up. Storage. Like you can see here, I have an SSD and a HDD, a solid state drive, and just your regular hard drives. Mechanical. Solid state drives are faster, they're smaller, they don't have any moving parts, but they're also more expensive per gigabyte. Like you can see 1 terabyte worth of hard drive is $50. For the same price you get 120 gigabytes. Your case is really just a box that holds all your parts. It doesn't have to be fancy unless you want it to. Your power supply powers all your things. There's a few problem parts right now in the current PC market, and that is RAM and GPU. RAM is steadily increasing in price. Like when I built my computer, I bought 8 gigabytes for I think like $70, and now you buy 8 gigabytes for more like $100. Like you can look at this graph, and you can see. I think this is this is 16 gigabytes. And back in July, that's when I built my computer. You could get 16 gigabytes for $125. Now it's going to cost you a lot closer to $200. First of all, RAM prices are going up, and that's partially because of these suckers. Smartphones started using similar or the same RAM as computers, DDR4, and that's causing a lack of supply. And that also kind of pulls over into the GPU problem. I don't want to close that tab. I'll explain in just a sec. GPU has been going up. There's this thing called mining cryptocurrency, and it is just destroying this market because all these miners are buying up these cards faster than the manufacturers can make them, and it's causing supply to go way down and demand's still up, but they're just buying up all the cards. So first of all, there's not really any stock anywhere, and second of all, their prices are hella inflated. I mean, if we go down to look at the 1070, that's a good one to look at. Right, look, it's pretty much consistent, right? It jumps a little bit in July. Yeah, that's what the last time. But if you look how consistent it is from 2016, you get a little spike in the middle of 2017, but it stays consistent up until the beginning of this year, where it just spikes for no damn reason. Well, not no damn reason, but it's just a pain in the ass. Like, you can look at everything else. Even the 1050 Ti spikes up to, you know, well over $200. I mean, 1050 Ti is worth like $150, and now you can find them for over 200. The RX 560, I don't know the prices well enough on these, but you know, 1070 Ti got hit hard. I mean, look, at release earlier, it released in October, and it was sitting at like $500, and then it jumps all the way up. It's insane. It's just because there's so much value for these cards for miners, so like they can pretty much pay for themselves over time. Okay, so you asked me for 2 games to look at for building: PUBG and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. This is a website that you'll probably use, that I'll show you. System Rick Labs. It just, you know, scans your computer and tells you if you can run the game or not. Like, if you look PUBG, it says I have at least the minimum requirements, but I'm not quite to recommended. In Rainbow Six Siege, I have over the recommended. But you know, yeah, so my building, what the PC I built was designed for PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Currently, you can run a heck of a lot of other things, mostly because PUBG is a newer game, so if you can run that, you can run a lot of other things. So I built 2 builds, a blue build and a red-ish build. Oh, I closed my other tab. Hang on. That's the red. So the blue build is going to have Intel. Intel parts, and the red build will have AMD parts. So we're going to let's look at the blue build first. Okay, so it's going to have a Core i5 8400. You probably just going way over your head, but let me just get through it. These 2 builds, the only difference that you're going to find is their CPUs and the motherboards, because not all motherboards fit all CPUs. So you have to get a different motherboard because you have a new CPU. The blue build is going to have a i5 8400. It's a 6-core processor, and then I just chose Micro ATX board. We can get something else if you decide it's different. 8 gigabytes of DDR4. Why did I have the 3? Whatever. And an SSD. What I use, so the reason I have an SSD on here is we're gonna put like your boot drive and a few other programs on there. It's just like you can get your computer to restart in a matter of, you know, 30 seconds compared to, you know, a minute plus if you're to use a hard drive. So we're gonna have a 120 gigabyte SSD and then another terabyte of a hard drive. Just that's where you're gonna store all your games and stuff. For a graphics card, I chose the 1050, the 2 gigabyte model. That's what I actually have right now. It's a pretty good card. It's also not super inflated compared to the other cards on the market right now, but it is still inflated. The case, you know, it's whatever. I just chose one to put on this list. When we go to Micro Center, we can see what they have there. And then, you know, your power supply. And then the red build has got a Ryzen 5 1600. That's what I have in my PC right now. I love it. It's also 6-core. It's got 12 threads, but this 8400 has 6 what's the word? 6 cores, but they're not. The i5 has 6 physical cores. The R5 has 2 physical and 4 logical. It doesn't really make sense, but you don't really need to worry about it. On PC Part Picker, it has the blue build up at 788, while the red build's at 760. Yeah. they're both pretty similar. The Ryzen 5 has a slightly higher clock speed, base clock speed, at 3.2 versus the 2.8. That's part of the reason I would go with the Ryzen. Plus, Ryzen is definitely going to be capable at least through the year 2020. Intel changes their boards, every few years. So if you don't want to upgrade this processor in the future, you don't have to like buy a new motherboard and possibly a new RAM. You just, pop another one in there. What's next on my list? Oh, to compare the two. So this is another website, User Benchmark. It's legit comparing the two. Hang on, I don't want that. Where's the 2x4? Whatever. Yeah, it's close enough. So you can see this is the red build on the left here and the blue build on the right. This website just creates a benchmark for, if you use a computer for gaming as, a desktop or a workstation. So we're looking at this gaming number, right? The red build's 37% and the blue build ranks in at 30%. So you can see that difference between the Ryzen and the Intel is 1%, right? The i5 benches at 93%. It does have a slightly higher value at 111%, but honestly, I kind of like Ryzen more. If you want, I can have some people put up an argument for the Intel. I don't really care. I like Ryzen, and that's what I have. Benchmarks at 82. It's a value at 100%. I mean, that's good. It's not quite as good as 111, but it's whatever. So those are the options. The other options that you're gonna have is to buy pre-built. Most because in this current market where GPU prices are way inflated and RAM prices are not far behind, pre-builts have actually become a lot better deals. Beforehand it was always a way better deal to buy all your own parts and build your own system, but now the pre-builts actually look kind of tempting. I'd have to do a lot more research into finding a pre-built because I don't know anything about where to find a good pre-built deal or what's good for a pre-built, because I've built my own hardware, so I'd have to do more research on that. Another thing we can do is hunt for deals. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. So like on r/PC builders, build a PC sale, that's what it's called. This website, everyone just posts deals for PC parts, and we could always scrounge through Newegg and Amazon on daily deals and just wait for something to pop up at a good deal and then buy it. The only problem with that is it takes longer, but you can save a few dollars, but it takes like the course of a month, if not longer. So I recommend that we can go to Micro Center and buy everything there. Maybe not the GPU. I don't know what their in-store prices look like on the 1050s, even if they have any 1050s in stock. But I'm gonna get to some alternatives for the GPU in just one sec. But everything else we can buy at Micro Center. But I'm not sure about the GPU yet. I don't know if they have it cheaper or if they have it in stock at all. We'll just have to see when we get there. So here's some other options for your GPUs. What is this? Oh, okay. We could go with a Ryzen APU build. So the Ryzen APU is a CPU with an integrated graphics. It's no means the most powerful thing in the world graphics wise, but it gets the job done for a lot cheaper than if you were to go buy a discrete graphics card. So the Ryzen 5 2400G, you know, the only difference between this and another build is that we were to buy 16 gigabytes of RAM instead of the 8 gigabytes of RAM we had before, because the graphics part of the CPU uses system memory. So the more memory you have and the faster it is, the better performance you're going to get out of the integrated graphics. I know it will run PUBG, but probably 30 FPS on low and medium settings. But other than that, I'm not really sure. Another option is we could buy a different graphics card. You know, we could get a 1030. It's less powerful than the 1050. It's probably the same as the APU gets the job done at, you know, 30 FPS in low to medium settings. Let's see. 1030 is still, you know, over $100. That piece of junk's worth, I don't know, 75 at most. Another option is we could buy a used GPU. You know, get one off of eBay. You get a 950, 960, 970. We can step back to the 900 series or 700 series, and you could probably get something that's more powerful than a 1050 for the same amount or a little bit more. The only problem with buying a used GPU is you don't know how long its life is going to be when it comes to you. You know, you could buy a you know, 980 and pop it in, and then, you know, it dies on you within, you know, 3 months. Then you're out of a GPU. I mean, it's an option, but, you know, you can never guarantee the quality of the part when it comes to you. But I think it's best to decide what we're going to do GPU-wise once we get to Micro Center and we determine what their GPU stock looks like. So other things you're going to need is your peripherals, you know, a keyboard, a mouse, and a headset. Most people prefer headsets that have the mic, so, you know, just sticking off right here. I don't. It's a personal thing. You also need like a monitor or something. I don't know if you've got that at home, but I just included in this list because, like, whatever. Let me go down this list. Windows, that's your operating system. You kind of need that, but we can cheat that. I'll tell more on that later. You need a monitor, 1080p, nothing less, because I will punch you if you get like a 720p. You know, you could get a mechanical keyboard. That's what I have. You know, if you listen, they're very clacky. Pretty much all people that are serious about their gaming use a mechanical keyboard. The mouse I said was a G502. I love this mouse. I know a lot of people do. It's really good. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 buttons. It's a fantastic mouse. Like, if you were to use like a $5 OS from Walmart and then use this, you can feel the difference in the quality. I just chose some random headset off of that it had because I really don't know anything about headsets. As long as you can hear things and people can hear from the mic, you're good to go. Games. So you're gonna get a Steam account, and Steam is basically this platform for all the games. Let me open it up really quick. This is basically where all games, pretty much a lot of PC gamers get their games. It's probably the biggest one, you know. You can come over here and see PUBG because I know that's what you're interested in. $29.99. But other places you can get games is Humble Bundle. Basically, these people set a they give you here's a list of games. You pay what you want, and then they're set into tiers. And like, if you pay, you can pay whatever you want, but like each tier is locked behind a dollar amount. We can open up this one just to show you what it's like. So it's pay $1 or more and you get all these games. You pay $8 or more and you get all these games plus these games. You pay 15 or more, you get all of these plus those. And when you buy stuff, it supports charity. It's kind of nice, and plus you get games on cheap. They don't always have good bundles though, so you just kind of have to wait till a good bundle comes around. Like I've bought 2 tiers worth of a bundle for one game, and it's still cheaper than buying the game by itself. So it's a good deal if you can find something that you're interested in. That's honestly where a lot of my games have come from, is Humble Bundle, because I just bought stuff always to get one game, and you get a bunch of other games with it. Another option is G2A and King One. These sites are very similar. They do the exact same thing, they're just different sites. They sell Steam keys for cheap compared to what they are. Let's see, we can look up PUBG. I mean, yeah, the Steam key, that's not a good example. But usually these Steam keys are, cheaper than what you can get them. You just have to look. So now I'm gonna give you a few options on where you can cut budgets, because I know building a PC for the first time and you have to get everything costs a lot. If you were to buy everything that I have listed for you, it would cost you $1,000. And so where can you cut? So first off, you could not pick up a solid state drive. That saves you $50. But honestly, if you were to use this, you would definitely notice the difference between the boot times. But we could do that. It saves you $50. Also, you could get, where's the list? There it is. Instead of getting, these fancy expensive, mouse and keyboard and headset, you could go to Walmart and get a mouse and keyboard for $5. It's gonna be cheap and feels like shit, but it gets the job done until you can save up money to get these things later in the future. You can get a cheap ass case. A decent case costs you at least $40. Probably a decent case is probably gonna be around the $60 mark. But you can get a $35 case. That's the best place to cut from a build, I believe, because honestly, the case just is a box that holds all your things. Aesthetically, you can get a nicer case if you want, but it's not really necessary. It does not change the performance of the PC itself. But that's up to you what you want to do. Another option is, instead of buying monitors new, you can buy a monitor off Craigslist. That's what I did. I actually got 2 monitors for $100 compared to your average cheap monitor for $100. You just kind of have to look for deals. So but in the end, it's all up to you. I just want to give you the information so you can figure out. I know a lot of it you probably don't understand, but I'm just trying to give you the information that you need to be able to make the choices that you need to build a PC, because it's kind of scary, and I know because I was there, but once you do it, you never go back.